Okay, I think I'm a rare one when it comes to this decluttering thing because as I think back over the course of my journey, there isn't a moment that sticks out to me where I straight up struggled to let something go, right? I guess a part of me was just so ready for change and growth that I bulldozed my way through the mess in my life. However, that's not to say that I was perfect or didn't face a few hurdles at all, right? I mean, I am human and my emotions do tend to get involved at times. So today I want to have a more relaxed conversation with you and break down a few things that I personally found hard to declutter. You ready? All right, let's do it. Number one are my clothes. Not just any clothes, all right? I'm talking about the pieces I owned that were brand new with tags still on them or things I only wore once or twice. Now, I'm sure you've seen this clip before of me decluttering my closet for the first time. I know I used it in a few videos here on the channel, but one thing this video does not show is how many clothes and shoes I had that were brand new or barely worn. I mean, if I had this much stuff today, like right now, I'd probably go crazy a little bit. Now, the reason I found some of these clothes hard to declutter was because of my own guilt. I felt guilty because, like I said, many of these things were brand new with tags still on them or things that I barely wore, right? And I felt bad and wasteful all at the same time, right? There was also a piece of me that just couldn't believe how much money I spent just for these things to sit in my closet. Now, outside of the guilt, if I'm continuing to be honest, there was also a piece of me that was simply stuck in an old habit, right? Of just buying clothes when I didn't necessarily need them, which contributed to the fact that I had so many clothes to begin with. However, I found a way to work through it, and I either donated or personally gave away everything that I did not wear or no longer wore. Number two is my college track gear. Odd, but true, right? If you know me, you know that track and field played a huge role in my life, and it helped shape my character in a way, but it also exposed areas that I know I needed to work on. So in that regard, I'm happy that I fell in love with this sport. Now, when it comes to my gear, the things that I bought, used, won, etc., there was an emotional attachment I developed to some of these things, which made it a little more difficult than usual to declutter. So something I did to get through this is I actually took a step back and I took a look at my gear for what it was. And at the end of the day, all of this stuff was just athletic clothing with school branding. Knowing this changed my perspective and my gear started to become less valuable to me and easier to declutter. Now, with all of that said, I did find a balance that has worked for me. So today, after decluttering all of my track gear, I still have a few items that resonate most with me, like my jersey, a conference championship t-shirt, and a long sleeve that I actually wear as an underlayer whenever I go for a run now during the colder months, which are actually approaching much sooner than I would like them to be. All right, number three isn't really a thing in terms of it being tangible, but it is something that was a bit of a hurdle for me, and that is my mind. Now, what do I mean by this? I used to be my own worst enemy. I mean, I'd overthink everything and sometimes second guess myself before even trying, right? But as I've grown on this journey and took the time to get to know myself and my habits, I've been able to manage it. Now, I'm not perfect, but I am in control of it, if that makes sense. Now, the reason this is on my list for things I found hard to declutter is because I strongly believe that our mental and emotional space is just as important, if not more important, than our physical space. I sometimes feel like minimalism and decluttering put a lot of emphasis on the physical aesthetic of our space and neglects other areas of our lives that we also need to focus on, our mental and emotional spaces. So yes, my mind has been a bit of a hurdle for me, one that I've worked through and continue to work through on my journey. I hope I shared something with you that resonated with you or made you feel like you're not alone in some of these struggles you're facing when it comes to decluttering. And if I did, give it a thumbs up for me and comment below so we can continue talking about this and helping each other through it. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and tap the bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Always remember to stay true to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.